That's a really good question. I have some opinions about AI as an example, which I think is going to, as I said, it's an integral part of what we're doing, but it's also a very scary thing.
Yeah.
You think about AIs being used by social network companies, for example. What do those AIs do? Well, their job is, first of all, to understand you, sort of create a model of who you are. But in doing that, then they can use that model to say, hey, this model would like this, so let's send that to him, right? So it's sort of trying to reconstruct what you care about, what you're interested about. That's one. The other is if that model gets good enough, you can actually use it and say, what happens if I do this to the model? In other words, can I change the target user's behavior, not just try to figure out what he wants, but get him to want something. So I see AIs are going to be very good at that. That's a game and AIs are very, very good at games. When we look at AR and VR, this AI that I talked about inside of the AR space that's working for me and for you, it can't be one of those. It has to be an AI that not only helps us, but defends us against those others. It's got to be what I call a prophylactic AI. It's got to be the thing that its job is to help you solve your problems, but also keep you safe. And I don't think there's not any work being done on that kind of AI right now. We see it as essential because can you imagine if that AI was owned by a social network and that AI is going to have a very strong urge to tell you to do things that may not be what you really need, aren't in your best interest. We need AIs that care about us, not about some other entity. So that's a big issue that's we'll be facing, and we're going to be facing it a lot sooner than you think. We are looking at ChatGPT is something that's really remarkably good. Well, we're on an exponential curve where now we're being able to see how good AI is getting. It's real for us. It's an exponential curve. 5 years from now, it's going to be extraordinary. That means we have to start thinking about these problems, these prophylactic AIs, these AIs to defend us. We have to start thinking about them now.
Yeah, that's a very good point. I mean, having an ethical AI.
That's right.
Yeah, absolutely. And
what an idea, huh?
Yeah, that is a brilliant idea, actually, and also I think, I'm going to get really nerdy here. You think we really, really need to get into general AI? I mean, I know there's a lot of research into it, but can we just keep it narrow? Is that you think general AI is a bit of a genie in the bottle that we shouldn't really take out?
Yep. I don't know. I mean, it's kind of out.
Yeah.
The trick is we need to start thinking about. These things are out there. And one problem I see is, and you nailed it so well, is an ethical AI has to be trained to be ethical. And we're not training things that way. We're training them. Here's every bit of information in the world. Now the problem is without foundations. It's like when you raise a child, you raise it to be ethical, right? You want the child to respect people. You want the child to have certain motivations. Or you want them to not do things that might harm them. But your job as a parent is to train that child to be a good human. Well, if you just said, threw the kid out and say, good luck, learn everything you possibly can and try to make sense of it without some sort of structure, some sort of, basis, some sort of moral structure there, you're going to create an insane AI. It has no value proposition. It doesn't know what's important, what's not. This is one of the reasons AIs lie. They can't tell the difference, and they don't care. There's no reason for them to be worried about truth. Every bit of information to them has the same value proposition. So you need to think that. This is, by the way, I think why Isaac Asimov was so important with his laws of robotics, because he was saying, here's this moral foundation, that gets laid on how a robot should think and how a robot should act. We don't we need that, but we need it in terms of how do you create a good AI? As just like as a parent, we want to make a good human.
Interesting. Very interesting. Very interesting point to wrap up. David, this morning. Finally, where else can we find you?
Croquet is at croquet.io, and we've got a number of really cool projects going on right now. In fact, the first one you'll see as soon as you get to our website is a thing called Web Showcase, and we made a system that allows you to add a virtual world, a metaverse world, onto your own homepage on WordPress with no code. It's wonderful. It has Dolby Spatial AI. So
Audio,
Dolby Spatial
audio, yeah.
They don't do it. Spatial audio, so you can talk to somebody in the world. You can invite your friends into. It's like, so if a company uses this, they basically have created their front showroom, and they can, and their content is in there. You go in there and get your wife to come with you to see. This is what they're doing. So that we're really excited about. That literally just came out. We won Product Hunt #1 on that one, and as I said, the WordPress plugin just is coming out like last week, so it's very, very new. And the other stuff we're doing, like I said, some of the stuff I can't talk about, but it's actually a big deal. I think we're about to multiplayer gaming is foundationally hard. People do. In fact, one of the reasons we started the Croquet project, I did this 3D world with all these different objects in it, and every one of them had a different network model. And you had to basically wire these things up. That's how all multi-user works today. The rule of thumb is multi-user apps are 2 to 3 times the level of effort to do over a single user app, because you have that wiring problem. And you change a feature, you have to rewire it. Croquet gets rid of that. And so one of the things we have coming is going to basically fix multi-user game programming, which I'm really, really excited about.
Fantastic.
I can't tell you what it is, but it's going to be cool.
Okay. Keep it on your hat. We'll keep watch the space now. So, yep. Dave, thank you very much for your time, and we'll check in with you in probably a year or so's time and see how much things really have grown.
Yep. Well, thank you so much, and take care. It was wonderful.
It's been an absolute privilege chatting to you today. Thank you for coming on to the show.
Yep.
Yeah.